Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whisky. My name's Vin PF, and on today's episode we're going back to a Summerton delivery, and this one here is actually independently bottled by Summerton themselves. Now, I've talked about Summerton quite a lot over the years. I've been a member of theirs for a really long time. They deliver a bottle every 2 months for 50 quid at the moment, and that's they've sort of guaranteed that price for another year, maybe at the end of this year, we'll see. But yeah, obviously whiskey's getting up in price and it's harder to source these things. But anyway, today we've got their third release as a small batch for the club. So this was delivered to us this month for our 50 quid. This one here is a English, they call it an English Single Malt 10-year-old, but actually it's a Adnams Copper House distillery, which we'll go into in a little bit. And like I said, this is the third independently bottled small batch. The first being in like August 2 years ago, I want to say 2022, and that was a McMira. So now we're on a third different distillery. They have done a single cask, one single cask, but we'll get into that a little bit later because it might be relevant to this video, as we'll see. Okay, so Adnams then, that's a name you might have heard of, especially if you're British, but even worldwide. It's a very old brewery making beer. You know, they've been going well over 100 years. Now in 2010 they turned their hand to distilling, first vodka, then on to some whiskey, and now we've got the fruits of those labours. This is a 10-year-old, so it would have been, I think it's probably bottled towards the end of last year maybe, but anyway, so it's going to be around that sort of early 2010s that this was distilled. Now the funny thing about that, like this is going by the notes that Summerton sent over, but it actually makes them the third oldest currently distilling English distillery, which is really interesting because they're not actually kind of like pushing their whiskey side of the business that much, I don't think, on social media and whatnot. So it's interesting to see them actually doing it. I've actually got another Adnams sitting over there on the shelf which I haven't reviewed yet. That was a boutique whiskey company one, but that's going to be coming soon, I think, if people are interested in that. Yeah, so it's an interesting thing to do. Now, what I'll do as well, I'll say, Dan, who runs Summerton, was kind enough, I got in touch with him after I received this, and he was kind enough to send me literally the dribble that he had left in his single cask. This is the only single cask Summerton have done. See, the 01 English. And this is Adnams as well, from the Copper House distillery, but this is a single cask version, slightly higher ABV, but it's also the same cask types, again, which we'll get into in a bit, and a 10-year-old. So, in the notes, they say it's great to compare this, but yeah, so if you're a Summerton Club member, this would be a good video for you because you'll be able to see how the single cask compares, and if you didn't pick it up, maybe it's time to, if you're interested in that sort of thing, especially if you like this sort of whiskey. But yeah, I've got that to compare, but we'll get into this one itself now. Okay, so yeah, as we said, 10-year-old whiskey, first fill ex-bourbon, they're Jim Beam casks, if that makes any difference to you whatsoever. Yeah, I think all said and done, let's get into the actual tasting and see what we've got, shall we? I believe, I mean, it says on here, right around the corner, non-chill filtered, natural coloured, we like that sort of thing. So yeah, it's got a nice, I don't know what I would call that. It's kind of like a light honey, kind of goldy looking colour. Okay, let's get onto the nose then. Now, the first thing I'm presented with on this is just like overwhelming vanillas. Now, I know vanillas are kind of an easy tasting note to pull out of ex-bourbon casks because that's what they smell like and that's what they taste like, you know. But usually it's in the mix. But this is the tasting note is big, bold vanillas, and then for me, I'm getting a kind of malty, digestive biscuit style on the back end. It's an inviting nose. This one here is 48.8%. Double check, 48.8%. Yep. So, you know, a good ABV. Let's try on the palate. Okay. Interesting. This is one of those ones where it's the nose translates quite nicely to the palate. Big, bold vanillas again, more of those biscuity notes coming through. It's got an ever so slight floral note on the back end. I want to say sort of heathery, but I'm not sure if that's quite right. It's a difficult one to pick out at the back. And then there's almost like a rye-like spice at the back end. which is really interesting. I'm really enjoying that kind of dynamic coming through. It's bright and vibrant with a little bit of spiciness on the back end. In terms of finish, I would say it's got a nice kind of sweet element to it at the start. It's kind of medium long. Once the medium bit has disappeared off, you're left with the kind of spiciness at the back end, that peppery spice, which I quite like. I've always enjoyed that in my whiskey. So for me, that's a real winner. And obviously to get it for 50 quid is a bit of a bargain. Now, I did bring some water to kind of cleanse between the two. Now what we've got is, because this is a small batch, I'm not sure how many barrels, but to give you an idea, this single cask is one of 108, and this is one of 1248. So multiple barrels are in this, and just one cask for this. So yeah, but the rest of it's the same. It's the same cask type. It's the same age. The same distillate, I imagine. I don't know much about the distillate. I'm assuming it's just malted barley, but because it's single malt. But yeah, genuinely don't know. But yeah, I've got this down here as well. It's the same colour, which is pretty cool. It means like the colour is just what it is. They haven't had to do much. You know, the batch hasn't evened itself out too much. You can see, look, it looks bang on, absolutely bang on. Okay, on the nose then. This one here is, again, I mean, it's huge on the vanilla, but like when I said huge on the last one, now this one is huge. Yeah, when I go back to the small batch, what was big, bold vanilla notes is now just normal vanilla notes compared to the single cask. It's huge, huge, huge vanilla notes. Again, more of those biscuity notes coming through. And for me, it disappears off into kind of a very, very slight marzipan vibe at the back end, which is not bad at all. I'm definitely getting vibes off of like, I don't know, like Sunday afternoon baking. We're talking about like some icing sugar and things like that. It's nice. It's really good. It's really good. I mean, this is, like I say, literally when Dan sent me the dribble, this is it. I've had a few sips before I started recording, but this is all we got in here, so we'll make the most of it. Let's try on the palate. Yeah, again, I mean, like the flavour profiles, the actual tasting notes are almost identical. Vanillas, biscuity, a little bit more of those floral notes, those kind of like rye spiciness at the back end. All of them are there, but they've all been ratcheted up from 10 to 11, if that's a good analogy. They're all just like accentuated just a little bit. The ABV is just a little bit higher. This one's 50.4, so it's like a couple of points higher. But it's all making just turning it up just a little touch. And for me, that's the finish is actually pretty similar. It's again sweet, disappears off into that spiciness, that kind of pepper. It's almost like white pepper rather than kind of cracked black pepper, if you know your difference in your peppers. But yeah, beautiful. Now, this obviously this small batch is not available to buy for anybody at the moment. I imagine that there's some stock left over, but that sort of not comes onto the shop later. So if only Summerton Club members can get hold of this. However, the single cask, this was not released as a Summerton delivery because it's only 108 bottles, and there's obviously, you know, over 1,000 members now. So yeah, so this one here is on the club shop available now. I don't think Dan really pushed it that much, but it is available. It was like, I think it's like 90 quid unless you're a member, and then it's £10 off. So yeah, I think that's probably food for thought. If you were thinking to yourself, if you are a member and you're watching this and you were thinking to yourself, you saw that in the email and you were thinking, well, I don't really know anything about Adnams. I haven't tried any of their whiskey. Wasn't sure if I want to spend 90, 80 quid on it, whatever it is. And you let it pass you by. Now you've tried this. Hopefully everyone's popped it. You know, it's again, it's an easy thing to do. If you're a Scotch fan and you open up a bottle that says English on it, then you might start thinking. But yeah, obviously, as we always say, you open it, you try it, you see what you like. If you are enjoying this, it might be the time to have a look at that. That's all I can say. I'm really enjoying it. This is obviously, you can see I've been hammering this. It's a really good drop. I'm really enjoying that. But I'm kind of thinking to myself, maybe I should get a bottle of that now as well, because this is, like I say, this is that just turned up a little bit more, for a few extra quid, obviously, as well. But there you go. Let me know below if you're a Summerton member and you're drinking this one right now. Let me know, and let me know if you tried any other Adnams as well, because like I said, they're a distillery that I've only really seen bits and bobs from. I haven't seen them kind of really pushing anything major or any major releases yet. Maybe that's just me and my lack of social media in at the moment, because I'm kind of taking myself off most of it. But yeah, let me know if you tried any Adnams. I'm keen to know what everyone thinks about it, because it's a distillery I'm definitely interested in based on this, and the t'other that I've got. But yeah, let me know in the comments below and we'll have a little chat. I'll see you again on more videos soon.